Everybody, and welcome to this tutorial on how to import BioImage Model Zoo models into BiaPy and how to export models from BiaPy into the zoo. For that, I will show you how to do it in the 2D instance segmentation workflow available as a Collab notebook. So I'm already in the notebook. I've already downloaded a dataset, which is the Stardust V2 dataset, as you can see here. I have already installed BiaPy, and now if we are in the configure and train the DNN model section, the first cell, which is optional, will allow us to list all the models available in the zoo that are compatible with BiaPy for this specific workflow, of course. So in this case, these are all the models that are available for 2D instance segmentation. In the next cell, we have to select the source to build the model, either BiaPy, Torch Vision, or the zoo. And when I click here, we have 3 buttons, and I have to select the third one, BioImage Model Zoo. So we'll be required to enter the nickname of the model that I want to use. In this case, I'm going to select the first one because it's very similar to the dataset that I'm using. So I just copy paste the nickname here, and we're ready to go. Of course, in the selection of parameters, most of them are going to be overwritten by this model, but one important one is the number of epochs, because now ideally we're going to do fine-tuning, so we only need to use a very small number of epochs. For example, I could do 3. I can click on the cell to have effect, and then I'm going to train the model by clicking on play to train the model. So as you will see, at the beginning, the files from the zoo will be downloaded. So it takes some seconds to do it. And then when the data is prepared, the full training process will start. And that's it. So in just 2 minutes, we have trained a model from the zoo and applied to our dataset in BiaPy. So now that the model has been trained, we can, for example, do as if it were a regular BiaPy model. We can inspect the loss function on the intersection over union by clicking on the next cell. And we'll have some plots, of course, much shorter because we only use 3 epochs. And we can also apply the model to some test images and visualize them to see how they look. So finally, what we want to do is to export this trained model into the BioImage Model Zoo format. For that, we can go to this option here, export your model to BioImage Model Zoo format. And then in the first cell, there are 2 options. One is to reuse the previous information. If you use already a zoo model, you can reuse the information that was stored there, or you can input that information manually. So hopefully this will work. So you can click here, play the cell, and then in the next cell, we're going to create the zip with everything that is needed to export it to the zoo. Okay. So we just have to wait a little bit, and the zip file will be created that we can later upload to the zoo. Now let's imagine another situation where we have trained our own model, in this case a unit, on the same data, the Stardust V2 dataset. So the model is already trained, as we can see here. We already have some results. We're happy with the results, and we would like to export this custom model from BiaPy to the BioImage Model Zoo. So for that, we go to the in the left panel to the export your model to BioImage Model Zoo format. We can click there and see that again we have the option to reuse a previously used model. In this case, we're not going to select it, but we're going to use the second model. So we have to introduce information about our trained model. The first thing is the model name. We should use something descriptive, for example, fluorescence 2D segmentation. I can call it like this, or I can use, if we want, some hyphens or spaces, etc. And I can even use, for example, something like this and include the name of the model. Then we have to put the author names. In this case, it's just been me, so I will put my name and my GitHub username. Okay. Finally, the model description. We can be as descriptive as we want. We can say, okay, this is a unit model trained in Stardust V2 dataset for 2D cell segmentation. We have the license, we have some model references. It is a unit, so by default we can reuse this reference here and this DOI here. So these are the corresponding DOIs to these references. This one is the current BiaPy reference. And then we can add some tags. By default, the notebook will add instance segmentation and 2D and BiaPy, but we can add more. For example, I can add a tag to be more informative, to say cell segmentation, and maybe fluorescence. Okay, so that's it. I run the cell, and then I have to click on play to download a zip file with a sport model. Okay, so we're going to create a zip file with the same name as the model name, with all this information to be uploaded to the zoo. So we just have to wait a few seconds, and hopefully fast, the model will be downloaded in our hard drive.